Good afternoon. I am not Jim Gerard. I'm Carolyn Churchman. And my good friend Jim Gerard is on vacation this week. He's probably sleeping till noon and playing golf and fishing and having a great time with his friends and his family, of course. I've invited some friends to be with me here today, and I hope you're going to enjoy them as much as I enjoy being with them. What would make a man jump 150 feet off of a cliff into the water? Why would he want to be chased by fighting bulls? Why would he want to be buried alive twice? We'll find out from Bill Shirk today. Also, we're going to meet Andy Rogers, Mr. Nashville. Here is a civic leader who cares a great deal about Brown County, Indiana, about Nashville. We're going to talk about his pet project of devoting his time and efforts to encouraging young talent from Indiana University. Well, we'll talk to all these folks in just a moment, but first listen to these messages. Bill Shirk owns WXLW radio station here in Indianapolis. He's on the air personality, and he's also gaining a nationwide reputation as an escape artist. And he's done all kinds of wild things already, and this weekend he's going to do his wildest. He's going to be buried alive for the second time for 3 days with snakes and tarantulas and creeping and crawling things, which, as a matter of fact, we have in the studio with us today. First of all, Bill, give us a brief rundown of all you've done so far in escaping and leaping.
Well, first of all, I got into this through Frank Powell of the Variety Club and the Marion County Association for Retarded Citizens. And he asked me if I would perform a Houdini-type stunt to raise money for charity. Of course, I didn't know anything about Houdini really at all, and started investigating into the situation. He was going to have a guy from the circus do the stunt. I was just supposed to show up and not be able to do it. I got involved, found out how to do it, and pulled off the stunt, and I've been doing them ever since, and I've devoted the next 2 years of my life, it's been over a year now, to raising money for charity through my stunts, which are similar to Houdini, although there's some other stuff, the buried with the spiders and the tarantulas and the pythons.
How much money have you raised for retarded citizens so far?
It's well over $10,000. Plus I've
wonderful.
done other stunts for other organizations to raise money.
You kind of enjoy doing these crazy things too, don't you?
I enjoy it as long as I have confidence in what I'm doing. Sometimes I have, so to speak, bitten off more than I can chew. Hopefully not on this next one. But
yes,
we've got some slides of some
yes,
of the
let's
things,
see
if you'd
some
like.
pictures of
This
some
was
of
the
the
first
past
one. There you can see the leg harnesses. I'm in the straitjacket with the police there, and they hoist me up in the air, and I got out of the straitjacket. That was the first time, and nobody knew that I could do it other than the guy who had been practicing with me getting out of the jacket. The next one, the next slide, is Pamplona, Spain. You can just barely see the bull there. It's goring a guy that was killed the day I ran in the streets with the bulls. In Pamplona, Spain, they have a festival like the World Series of Bullfighting where the bulls run through the streets, the 8 killer bulls that are used in the arena that night. They run through the streets, and the people are allowed to participate to be in the streets during this half-mile run, and there's some 2,000 people in the street. I ran in a straitjacket, got out of it. This gentleman was very unfortunate there. The horns pierced his heart. He was killed.
Oh,
the next escape which I did was the bridge jump at White River, and had chains and padlocks around me, and then an anchor to my left foot, and jumped off a 35-foot bridge. The water the time I was practicing was about 9 feet deep, and there was no problem, but the water level went down to about 6 feet, so it was a little rough.
I remember I was there.
I was under for about 45 seconds. And then the next stunt, or escape, was the buried alive, which you can see me there up in the left-hand corner. I've got the cross braces that busted, and I was down for 3 days. This being buried, although it is probably the most dangerous feat that I do, has the most potential to raise the most money for charity because people can come directly to the grave site. They can talk to me while I'm buried underground, and also they can call the station, WXLW, and make donations. So it's got the most potential to raise the most amount of money.
Now you're going to be buried alive this coming weekend, aren't you?
This coming weekend, 12 o'clock noon at the grounds there at 30th and Kessler at WXLW with a 10-foot Burmese Python, 2 tarantulas, and a rattlesnake. Maybe we can just briefly run through some of the other stuff. The next escape, I believe, was an aerial event. That's an aerial event. That's the cliffs of Acapulco, Spain. I went down there with my brother Bob and jumped off the cliff 150 feet and got out of the straitjacket underneath the water in about 30 seconds. The next is a shot of me hanging from my brother's heels in a parachute as we were over Acapulco Bay, and I got out of a straitjacket. Then the next slide is, what is that?
A little dark, and it's hard to tell what it is.
I really don't know. Might be something, probably the thing at Market Square Arena. Yeah, that's probably
Well, and the
Market Square
Pacers and the racers, you have
Oh, no,
hung
that's,
upside
I
down.
think that's the picture of my brother as he had the camera shooting down on me in the straitjacket over the, yeah, that's over Acapulco in color. Yeah, that's the,
Well,
that's
let's
the shot
get
of that.
to right now, to today.
Okay.
What,
There's
what's
some
going to be
aerial
happening?
escapes which I did at the Pacers and the Racers and the hockey game and also the Shrine Circus, getting out, just run them off there, and I'll just sort of, there's just a couple of more, go Racers. And
you
that was at the
always
Shrine
managed to
Circus
get
there.
out of the straitjacket.
Always got out of the straitjacket with no,
chains
and then the last one there
all
is
the
the
bells.
14-mile swim of White River, which I did on April 1st.
Well,
which I
we
was in
just
the
wonder
hospital
what in
with
the world's
pneumonia.
going to happen to you this coming weekend when you're buried alive with the snakes. And we have Larry Batten from the Speedway Pet Shop, and he's brought the snakes. Why don't you bring them out so we can
Wanna see
meet
'em now?
them?
Larry's got a,
And here's the tarantula that's going to be buried with you. Ugh. I thought maybe I might be able to tickle a tarantula, but I'll tell you, I'm chicken. I just cannot do it. But I'll tell you, he is alive. He or she, as the case may be.
well, the other one that
Okay.
I'm going to be buried with, there are two, is about 3 times that size, but a little nastier too.
Are they poisonous, tarantulas?
Ask Larry over there. He's the expert on that. He's going to be getting out the python. This is a Burmese python. I had a little trouble
I surely
because
wouldn't want to be even close to him.
I had a
let alone
10-foot
buried.
Burmese
Oh!
python that was my own,
Oh.
and I lived with for 3 days.
Oh!
And, he,
There he is. Oh, good heavens.
well, no, that's not the one. He died of pneumonia about a month ago, so I had to get another one. And with all the publicity on being a Burmese python, Larry had one that was 10 foot, but he's a very nasty animal. As you can see, he weighs about 35 pounds. You can hear him hissing.
Oh, yes.
And he is not the friendliest python, although getting him by the back of the neck, you control him pretty well. You can see the length of him. He is 10 foot. He's eaten as many as 46 rats
At
in
one time?
month, in one
Oh,
month,
my
which is quite a
goodness.
bit there. And he's not the docilest of.
Oh, I bet he's
Burmese
heavy,
pythons.
too, isn't he?
He weighs probably about 35 pounds.
And he's going to be down in that coffin with you this week.
He's gonna be down.
Oh, that's
Are
lovely.
you going to be feeding him down there?
I hope he'll be well fed before we put him down,
Before you put him
in
down.
the ground. Don't you think, Larry?
Well, we'll get him fed up pretty good.
Oh, my, look at that tongue getting out there. It's hard to realize he is a creature of God, isn't it? Oh, I surely wouldn't want to be close to him. Did you bring another one with you, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the
Let's
rattlesnake.
get, oh, my.
This is a 4-foot timber rattler, too, and Larry caught the thing down in Kentucky about 3 weeks ago, Larry.
No, it was here in Indiana.
Was it here in Indiana?
Right.
Brown County?
Right.
Brown County?
Brown County.
Got it.
Oh,
Right
nice
from the
Brown
hometown.
County snake. That's
Sure,
good.
but it is a rather large rattlesnake. A 4-foot one is rather
But
large.
you have no fear about being buried alive in this coffin?
Well, of course, fear has to enter into it. You know, you've got to respect fear. But I have, I think, the knowledge to be able to do what I want to do. After you see this rattlesnake, though, you may change my mind a little bit, although I've been watching.
There'll be a telephone set up at the
Yeah,
tent
there'll be,
so people can come and talk
We're
to
going
you
to have
on
a
the
whole
telephone.
carnival atmosphere. There's going to be magicians there. There's going to be bands there. There'll be a large tent. They're going to have all sorts of shows going on. You'll be able to come directly to the gravesite. It's all free, absolutely no expense. The Variety Club is manning everything, and all the proceeds, of course, go
And
to the Marion
hopefully you'll
County
get dimes,
Association
quarters, dollars,
for retired
donations.
citizens. Yes. Now here's the rattlesnake.
Oh, I can hear that rattling going on. I swore I wasn't going to react to this. I wish I didn't.
Have him make a little noise there, Larry.
Could you bring him a little? Oh my goodness, look at that. Well, he's just doing what comes naturally. We've got to realize.
What would
that,
happen if that snake would bite you, Larry? Why don't you
Well,
tell
this
people?
snake holds quite a bit of venom. He's almost full grown. And
Oh, when he's coming towards you. Oh my.
he would he would be lethal if he got, let's say, near the heart. And if he bit in the limbs, almost guaranteed be loss of a limb for some time. A lot of people that get bit by rattlesnakes this size, they likely lose fingers and that sort of thing because their venom completely destroys all cells.
And his tongue is spitting out there too. Well, let's put him back in the cage, and let's forget this. My heart's still fluttering. I'll tell you, you're a brave soul, Bill Shirk. We will be back after these messages and after I calm down a bit. Well, I'm a bit calmer now that the snakes are back in their boxes and the tarantulas are having a nice nap under these hot lights. Bill Shirk's a brave soul, and we'll be listening to the whole proceedings on WXLW, because I'm sure it will all be broadcast starting Friday, running for 3 days. You know, I always call Andy Rogers Mr. Nashville. Many people call him Mr. Nashville. Not only is he a businessman, a multimillionaire in Nashville, Indiana. He owns the Ramada Inn, the Nashville House, the ordinary early American tavern. But he's very civic-minded in that he likes to do things for people, for lots of people. And just most recently, his pet project is, well, helping to support and make happen the brand new Brown County Playhouse, which opens this weekend in Nashville. Andy, it's very nice of you to come all the way up from Brown County to Channel 40 today.
Glad to be here, Carolyn. I brought you a little present.
Oh, my very favorite, your famous baked apple butter. Oh, I think I'll just open it now, if I could only get it open and have a little taste. Of course, you're famous for your fried biscuits and apple butter. Always as good as ever.
Sure it is.
Tastes fresh baked?
Fresh baked. Just took it off the line today.
Oh, just baked out the kitchen there in the Nashville house,
right.
I'll bet. Good enough. Well, thank you. We'll enjoy that. Have a nice lot of good things that are baked there and preserved and made always in the Nashville house kitchen, haven't you?
Yes, you'll see the strawberry preserves. You won't find strawberry preserves like that around anywhere. They usually chop up the strawberries. Now, those are the whole berries.
Complete berries.
Yeah.
Right.
And, of course, our bread and butter pickles are some of the most famous around.
Right. Well, you know, you have managed almost single-handedly to keep Nashville quaint and charming and a place that visitors love to visit. My first question today, though, is how is the water situation there? Of course, I love to go to Nashville. People are always asking me how the water is, and I say fine, because to me it is fine for the tourist there. Is that what you find?
Yes, we have water. We were having some problems with our water system. But as far as having availability for water for our visitors, we have plenty of it.
So that when people come to Nashville and eat in the restaurants and tour the shops and stay in the hotels, there is plenty of fresh, safe water.
We're ready for everybody.
Good. Well, that's, I'm glad we got that over with, because there have been so many scare stories and all. Tell us a bit about the Brown County Playhouse, which I know opens this weekend. A brand new playhouse.
Yes, we tore the old one down, and of course we haven't been open this year. And our first production will be on Thursday of this week. The Playhouse seats about 404, which is about what it seated before, maybe a little less. It's in air-conditioned, heated quarters, and has a new thrust stage that sort of juts into the audience where the audience sits around, and it's going to be a very interesting production.
And it'll be more comfortable chairs than you had in the past.
Well, the chairs will be the same. It's those director's chairs, but they won't be sitting on gravel.
Right, that's what I mean.
They'll be on concrete risers, and it's going to be, you're going to be able to have good vision of the stage from all the way around and be able to hear the actors very well, and it's sort of a participation thing, more or less, with the stage being into the audience and the audience surrounding the stage. It's
more
a more
on
intimate.
Three sides, isn't it?
It's more of
intimate,
an intimate
yes.
type production.
That's good. Well, and the Playhouse will be open now all year round instead of just in the summer as it has been in the past.
Yes, that's right. Now this September there won't be any productions, but they'll start in again in October and should continue throughout the year.
And all of the actors are from the Indiana University Theater Department, aren't they?
Yes, there's about 40 in this company that's putting on this coming production.
And the first production is A Streetcar Named Desire, and then there's others that are coming on down the line. How long does each play last?
Oh, it lasts about 4 weeks.
And the theater will run, what, Thursday through Sunday?
Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm. What is the exterior like? Is it in keeping with the whole Nashville look?
It's a fooler. The front is very small. It's about twice as big as it was before, but it's still it puts on the appearance of an old-time theater. And it's just a small entryway, but when you go through the doors and into the auditorium, it just sort of opens up for it. But the entrance is rather low-key, and that fits in with the decor and atmosphere of Shoppers Lane.
Right. Your father donated the land, didn't he, or had the land originally, how many years ago? Almost 50 years ago, and it sort of started from that, didn't it?
Well, it was back in 1949. My father owned the land, and then I took it from his estate, bought it from his estate, and we're continuing under the same arrangement. The university, the IU Foundation, leases it from me. And this is kind of a joint effort between myself and Brown County Playhouse, Inc., and the IU Foundation, and then the Indiana University providing the productions. So it's kind of a cooperative effort among all of us.
Oh, well, that's fine. It's very worthwhile, though, and I'm sure the tourists and the visitors will enjoy being able to see productions all year round, other than September. But even in November, December, January, February, it'll be another good reason to come to Nashville, even in the off months, so-called.
Oh, yes, and IU needs the exposure, needs the facilities for their teaching. And it takes the academic productions away from the university into a more of a theater atmosphere rather than being on campus. They'll still have the productions at the little theater at IU, but this kind of puts it in a different atmosphere.
Right where it's really happening, before a live audience and all.
Well, they do it before live audiences, but this removes it from the academic area and puts it into more of a theater away from the university productions.
Well, fine. Well, we'll be back again chatting with our guests further about the things that interest them in life, but first listen to these. Well, Bill Shirk, what worries you the most about being buried alive with the tarantula and the two snakes?
Not raising the amount of money that I want to raise for the Marion County Association for Retired Citizens, seriously. The tarantulas, I'm really not concerned about at all. The python, although he's a rather nasty one, I'm very familiar with the species. The rattlesnake is my main concern, and if I get bit by the rattlesnake, I've got a good chance of losing my life.
Now, they have not been devenomized
we're
at
offering
all.
a $10,000 reward for anybody who can disprove that any of the venom has been taken from the rattlesnake or the tarantulas. Larry has a story about a guy who got bit by a rattlesnake, which will give you the idea of exactly what
How
happens
dangerous
if you
it
get
is.
bit.
What happens, Larry?
Well,
how quick
this
does it
happened
work?
in, I believe it was Florida, and a gentleman, they were just hiking or something. One of the guys got bit by a rather large rattlesnake, and usually most people that get bitten by rattlesnakes, they think right away, cut the X and someone sucked the wound, right. But what happened, the guy that did the sucking, he had a cavity in his tooth. So the venom went right to his brain.
Oh.
So immediately, like within an hour, that close, it was just all over with. So, it's very potent and it can do a lot of damage. You can be, even if you aren't killed, you can be, really scarred for life, more or less.
Yes. Well, will you have these snakes in bags or in any little cages in that coffin with you?
No.
Or
They will put
layered?
me in the coffin, then they will put the top of the lid on the coffin, and then they have a little door that's about 6 by 8, and they'll lift it up, and they will first of all drop the rattlesnake in. I'm going to have to get control of the rattlesnake within the first 30 seconds that it's put in the coffin with me, or the thing's finished. I have confidence that I'll probably get him by the back of the head, try to control him as much as possible. Tarantulas I'm not even going to worry about. They can just drop them in, because one will go after the other.
Oh, instead of you.
Two tarantulas that put in the same situation will go after it. And the python, which is, Larry's here, I don't know. What do you think, Larry?
It's a mean one. It's probably the meanest one I've had to work with for that size in over a year.
Well, it seems like you're taking an awful chance to raise money for retired citizens. It seems like you could just do it easier. I remember the last time you were buried alive, the cross brace in the coffin gave way, and the coffin lid was laying on your chest, because I saw you when you came up.
To a certain extent it was, but it's funny, I don't even think about those. All I'm thinking about right now is the rattlesnake.
Yes, well, we'll all be saying a prayer for you as you go down and spend the time there. One of the things that bothered you so much was that complete isolation down below ground.
Well, you're talking on the telephones, and you're talking to people at the gravesite. There were over 2,000 people last time. That's a lot of talking with no water. There's be no food or water in the coffin, and my mouth gets really dry. That's a rather unpleasant feeling.
Well, and you're alone, except for your
You're really not, though. You're
friends.
Constantly on the phone. You've got an emergency telephone line. You've got a line to the top of the gravesite. You've got a line into the media in case somebody's wanting to call you. So it's covered from all angles. But it's all for a good cause. It's all free, and I'd like to see you there. I'm going to be there, and so are my friends.
Oh, yes, they certainly are. Let's hope they sleep, too. And I know you sleep occasionally when you're down there being buried. How long did you sleep the last time?
I slept Friday night for about 3 hours, and Saturday or Sunday morning early about 5 hours.
Well, we certainly wish you well, Bill Shirk. And please go down and see the Brown County Playhouse, which is just going to open this Thursday, and it's going to run every weekend except Thursdays, or rather, except during September, down in Asheville, Indiana. It's a good way to support the Indiana University Drama Department. So thank you, Larry. Thank you, Andy Rogers. Thank you, Bill Shirk. And I hope that you will join me on WXLW every morning at 10:30. I interview all kinds of interesting people. Wednesday, I'll be talking to Carol Channing. Every day, though, there's somebody interesting coming on. And please join whoever's guest on this show tomorrow. Have a happy day, and let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Bye now.
You've been watching The Jim Girard Show, brought to you in part by the pharmacists in green at your neighborhood Hook's Dependable Drugstore. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another half-hour live with Jim Girard and his special guests.